Welcome back to Beyond Cancer by David. I hope you're all doing very well. These last 2 to 3 weeks have been incredibly energetic from astrology perspectives. I don't know how you went through it, but I felt it. I had difficulties to sleep sometimes. I felt the energy just flowing, positive feelings, negative feelings. Anyway, why am I saying this? Because in one of the stories I mentioned that this challenging energetic period can actually be used to something positive. In most cases, if you think about why you take the chemotherapy and what is the reason behind it and what is the prognosis, it is very easy to fall into a state of fear and worries and big doubts. And having learned a little bit from the sessions of the radio where I needed to convert this into a positive experience, I applied this the same way in the chemotherapy. So before I started the first chemotherapy, I looked at it. What is the packaging like? What is the color of the chemo like? How does it smell? How is the look and feel actually? I really looked at it and said, okay, what is this chemotherapy going to do in my body? And try to visualize how it's cleaning up my body and killing the remainder of, if any, cancer cells. I'm not going to paint everything as it was a journey through flowers. I had this dual feelings as well. While I said to myself, I need to convert this into a positive experience and be mindful what it does, I'm not going to neglect. There were a lot of moments of deep fear where I was just scared. There were moments as well where I was alone and I cried because suddenly doubts came up. All this positivity and the energy which I was showing and telling the people, I'm going to go through it. And then I thought, what happens if the prognosis of the doctors actually becomes true? And while I'm actually taking the chemotherapy, making a fuss out of that and how to take it and see it as something positive, suddenly the tumor comes back and I succumb to it. These are the moments where I learn for the later life as well. When it becomes challenging, and it will become challenging, and we have doubts and fears, we need to face them and then go over them and work with them. One of the things which I had somehow learned, I needed to focus 100% on the chemo and make sure that everything what would block the impact of the chemo, the success of the chemo, would be removed. We have to forgive ourselves because these are blockages in our body. Now really it was the time to forgive myself for the responsibility I had that the cancer had come. I needed to forgive myself for certain things I had done and pains and wounds which had been inflicted on me, rightfully so or not. But I needed to go clean in there. I needed to be in peace. I needed to be able to focus on the chemo. Another of the learning lessons I took away was don't stall when challenges come. Don't stall when the moment is difficult. I had decided that during the chemo, I wanted to go on. I worked, I kept myself busy, I did sports, I spent time with my family and people, I traveled, the chemo was with me, but this kept me busy. I kept going. It's one of the most important things I can tell you. The reason I actually took that stance was that at least if I have a few months left, I'm going to live it. And I'm going to live it showing the best of myself. It's especially during hard times where we grow. Not when everything is going perfect. It's when it rumbles. That's when we actually step up. That's when we grow. That's when we transform. And as the chemo went on and it was hitting my energy, I was losing weight. Even though I tried to eat, I was just losing weight. I remember that the doctor said if you go below 70 kilograms, you have to do it in the hospital. Somehow, with what I mentioned before, with the forgiveness and on the one side, clearing the space, and on the other side, seeing it positive and calm, I was in peace. I gave myself into that situation. I had the faith that everything was aligned and I just needed to go through it. So I'm going to fast forward and not going to go into each of the chemo sessions itself. There were 45 in that case. But I'm going to fast forward. It's actually October 19, 2018. I remember this was the last chemo session. And before I took the last chemo session, I wanted to take a walk with my dog alone and just think about it. I remember the moment when I took a picture, a selfie. I looked at the selfie very surprised. The person I saw on that picture was actually in better shape than going into the chemo. And even now it gives me goosebumps when thinking about that. I knew in that situation that I had succeeded in actually doing everything and giving my best to go through that challenge. That chemo made me a better person. It cleansed me. We all can do this. We are able to actually unleash an incredible amount of power and turn difficult situations into something positive. It's not easy, it's painful, it leaves scars, but it is possible. It is actually really possible. I wish you all the best. Please subscribe to my channel and hit the like button and feel free to comment. Thanks. Beyond Cancer by David.